This is the Propaganda Report. I am Brad Binkley. Bezos 6, the Bezos 6 gets just the tip. ISMplay and Cinco De Deporto. Again, I'm Brad Binkley's Propaganda Report podcast, doing an early morning show. It's around 4:30 a.m. on the East Coast, 1:30 a.m. on the West Coast. I haven't done a lot. I have been a little short on shows lately. I've been doing about 2 per week. I usually do 4, and woke up in the middle of the night tonight. Couldn't get back to sleep, and I said, what the heck, let's do one. So I put on my Atlanta Hawks cap, obviously to celebrate the completion of their 40-42 season. A perfect representation of the mediocrity that is the Atlanta sports world. And I got to work. I'll probably restream this sometime a little later this morning, maybe afternoon. But whenever you watch, hit the like button if you do like it. Share it if you do think it's share-worthy. And you can find all the ways to support the show and the links in my bio, on my X page at Freedom Act Radio. The easiest way to support the show is financially anyway. If you aren't, if you don't want to donate or do a subscription, the easiest way is to listen on your podcast app and just let the ads play through. We don't get anything if the ads are skipped, and so it does help us out if you do that. And also subscribe to the Propaganda Report podcast on your podcast app. Let's dive in. All right, so the biggest story everybody was talking about yesterday is this Blue Origin mission to the edge of space. The edge of space. A mission that for the first time in over 60 years launched an all-female crew into the cosmos. Even if they barely pierced into the cosmos. Because these flights go 60 miles above Earth, 62 miles above sea level, and they pass just beyond the Kármán line. Pronunciation, don't know if I got that right. But that's the line that is considered the boundary between Earth's atmosphere and outer space. One might say that Bezos' rocket, which is most well known for its resemblance to a penis, gave space just the tip. That's how he designed the rocket, is so he could say that. He does all these things outwardly to be this entrepreneur helping the world, but privately he's making the D jokes that Elon Musk makes publicly and awkwardly. Let's not have any illusion here. The awkward D jokes that Elon Musk makes publicly, Bezos is making privately all the time. Look at his ship, okay? This becomes even more ironic. His rocket giving space just a tip when you consider that the entire crew was, again, all female. A giant penis manned by 6 women penetrated the edge of space with just the tip. This is why the Blue Origin flight was historic yesterday, because for the first time ever, space got pegged. Went a really long way for that one, but we got there. We got there early this morning, guys. There is something ironic about a ship full of 6 women inside the tip of a penis, and that's where they are. That's where he puts them. He gives them the tip. That's where they fly. When they fly up into the air, the shaft separates from the tip of the D, and that's where the women, they land in the tip, and they spill out like the only sperm that escaped a horrible, horrible accident. And Bezos is there to hug them, and Oprah's crying, and the reporter's like, you survived! And they come out, and they kiss the ground. Never seen sperm kiss the ground, but I've never looked at them under the microscope, which is actually foreshadowing a later unrelated story to this. Get ready for that story, which is really odd. Nevertheless, the six-women crewed flight, lasted around 11 minutes, which is 8 minutes longer than most rockets that shape could last with just one woman. Although, technically, Gayle King counts as two men. Okay. The return home, I have some videos here. Like I said, it breaks off. And they all came out, and they had this big media. Why was this important? They always do this with these things. It's like a distraction. It's just, look at what we're doing. Hey, show me a dick that plows into the depths of the ocean. Penetrate the bottom of the ocean, Jeff Bezos, with 6 women. Peg the bottom of the ocean, Bezos, and then I'll be impressed, okay? We've already seen you do this. Whether it's real or not, what we saw could easily be made more dramatically and better in a film studio. Maybe it was, some might believe. Peg the bottom of the ocean with all those freaks, animals down there, okay? 95% of the ocean unexplored. UAPs, UFOs, whatever you assholes call them now, flying out of the ocean. Peg the bottom of the ocean, and then I'll raise an eyebrow. Okay, I don't care if it's all women crew. I don't care if it's an all trans crew. Make it an all trans crew. Who cares? What a ridiculous thing. Yeah, Bezos is just like, it's like he's high one night going, what if I got 6 bitches and just gave them the tip? And everyone will be like, equality. And he's giggling his little ass off. Because Bezos gets this outward appearance of equality and progress for women, when all he's doing is making a bunch of just the tip jokes privately. I guarantee you, he's a guy, okay? And there's not a guy, ladies, in your life, even if you've never heard him, the nicest old man who's only ever said sweet things to you, privately makes the dirtiest dick jokes to his buddies all the time. Don't, you see the dudes in the bingo section of the old folks home. You go over there, ladies, you're going to hear some dirty D jokes, because that's what guys do when they're not in public view. I'm surprised Jeff Bezos even creates the illusion that, I feel like he did this whole thing just for the private D jokes, while Elon Musk did the whole thing just for the public D jokes. So Bezos could be like, oh, I'm not. That's so, what an amateur. Well, that's really, where are the adults in the room? Then privately, he's just like, I gave 6 women just the tip, and they pegged space. Moving on. Oh, the crew, by the way. Actually, there's more. I'm not moving on yet. It consisted of, as you know, Katy Perry, Jeff Bezos' journalist fiance, Lauren Sanchez. Journalist? Okay. Journalist Gayle King. So right now we have an actress/singer and 2 fake journalists on board. NASA rocket scientist, Aisha Bowie, who's pretty hot. She's like the best looking on board. Then you have astronautics research scientist and civil rights activist. Okay, let's make sure you get a civil rights activist up there so we can hold one of those keep your hands off our trans sibling signs up in space. Amanda Nugent and filmmaker Corrine Flynn. I don't know what films Corrine Flynn makes, but I guarantee you they're gay. Is there any chance they're not gay? I'm looking real quick. She's not bad looking either. She looks a little crazy. Let's be honest. This changes everything. Let's see. I'm just going to type in Corrine Flynn LGBT. LGBT. Yeah. It looks like she's a little LGBT to me. Oh. Well, she's trans. She's wait, I don't know if she's trans. It's not a good sign when you type in somebody's name, LGBT, and the third result is like, I'm trans and proud to live as my authentic self. Not saying that's her, but something showed up. So something in that search right there made that show up. So I don't know. Nothing is not woke about the people he put on board this ship. And yet all he's doing is making D jokes privately. Because he doesn't care. He doesn't care about any of that, about the first all-women crew in 60 years. He doesn't care. They didn't do anything. They weren't flying it, which means, I guess, AI or something was flying it. What if there was a problem? Maybe that's why Oprah was crying, because that was the story. Here's part of the story here. It says, close friend of Oprah, or of Gayle King, Oprah Winfrey, was there in the crowd. You know, she was in the crowd. There's people around her. It was just regular, normal people. Like any of us could have just walked up and been, hey, you're Oprah. Let me shake your hand. Because she was just part of the crowd. It wasn't controlled. It wasn't just a bunch of security guards around her. She was there watching the launch and witnessed the whole thing. And when the tip of that D, after it separated from the shaft, landed safely, Oprah was seen removing her glasses and weeping. She wept, for her friend Gayle King had landed safely. Now, we don't know if she was crying because she was happy Gayle King landed safely, or she was angry Gayle King landed safely. We don't know that. That's a question for Oprah. Let's look at some video. Let's go to the video. Here's Oprah. I guess this is Oprah at the event. The video is so zoomed in, it's like this could be Oprah literally anywhere. Why is this not? Okay. Yeah, okay. Here's Oprah allegedly. Look at her. Look at her. Oprah cries watching Gayle go to space. Why would that make Oprah cry? Just this caption here is deceiving. It feels like a lie. Any of your friends, if they were like, hey, I'm going to go to space. I'm going to go on Jeff Bezos' dick rocket, and I'm going to fly, and I'm going to penetrate the edge of space. It's all very sexual, the whole thing, but it's also progress. Will you come and stand outside and watch me, kind of give it to space a little bit? Would you be like, yes, and then would you just be in tears watching your friend go to space? I don't know a person that I've ever met in my life that this would make them cry. Let's not judge. Let's watch. Hold on. It's a little too big there. Oprah's face a little too big there. All right, there she is there.
Oprah watching her best friend go to space.
So Oprah now, she took her glasses off and she's leaning backwards like she's doing a bump of cocaine or something. In her, what is this? This is like an apple green sweater she's wearing. How hot is it out there? Where did this launch from? It was like 75 degrees here. I don't know where this launched from. Maybe it's early in the morning. There she hugs. There's Oprah, completely unaware of the cameras, just lost in her friend's accomplishment. Oh, boom. That's all I have of that. But that's the story, is she was moved because Gayle King was afraid of flying. And you know what you do when you're afraid of something? You go peg the edge of space. And that's what Gayle King did. And so she'll never be afraid to fly again, because that bitch has given just a tip to the cosmos. And Oprah cried about it. You know, it's something that anybody could do with a down payment of $150,000. Like any of us could do that as well and have our friend come there. Now, we might have to pay Oprah extra to come do that. I bet there's people that take issue with Oprah's best friend being declared to be Gayle King. Maybe that's true. I've never heard that before until today. I feel like that was just. I feel like that wasn't true, honestly, and I don't say that because I have any evidence that it's not true. Honestly, wait. Oprah was always terrible. See your table. Oprah. Oh, look, I'm looking up Oprah and best friend because I think this is a new development, and I think there's a lot of other people that watched it that said, "Wait a minute, I thought I was Oprah's best friend." And I just don't think women that age are best friends with each other, honestly. Maybe I'm wrong. I think Stedman was going, but I've been your best friend your entire life, Oprah. What about me, Oprah? Like Stedman could go up in that blue rocket. They could be stranded there somehow. And Oprah there wouldn't be a tear come from her eye. Instead, wouldn't be like, you cried for Gayle King, but I was stuck up there for months? And not one tear was shed for me. Just nothing Stedman does is enough. Because he's not Gayle King. Well, it does look like Gayle King has been her best friend for a while, actually. Wow. I don't know if they throuple with Stedman. I have no idea. How could I know? Okay, let's here's another ridiculous video. It's this whole presentation here. It's like, I don't know if this is like an escape valve from all the other, onslaught of news that we get. Why is this doing this? Sorry, it's not like I'm trying to show you guys this thing here. It's all right. There's the Blue Origin. Hold on one second. There it is. So this is the launch, and you can see the penis shape. It actually looks like it has a mocking face on it, and a little line drawn. I don't know where their vein might be. I have no idea. But here's it very theatrically. Do you guys believe this is real? Israel is real.
T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
I don't know who this AI voice doing this sexy countdown is.
Start. 2, 1.
What is it?
Start.
So there's the platform, like the ground it's launching from.
2, 1.
There it is, the fire underneath it. That doesn't even look real. Does that look like a real? I mean, it looks like an AI image. It's tough to tell, man. You have these HD cameras, because I would think they would be able to get at least a close-up of something there. And I haven't zoomed in yet to see if you can actually see the people in the windows there of the tip of the D. But I mean, this looks almost like a comic book graphic novel thing, doesn't it? It really does. There it goes. That doesn't look.
New Shepard has cleared the tower.
I know there's advancements in cameras. I get that, but that does not. That all looked like it was like bad CGI. Well, how do they get that? Where's this camera? Where's this camera getting it from the top here? They're not doing themselves any favors by making it sound so theatrical. It already looks like it's CGI. I mean, it really looks CGI. I'm not saying it's not real. I'm saying it looks CGI in the presentation. Maybe that's on purpose. Maybe this blurring of what is real and what isn't real is intentional. Could very well be. But that did not look like something that happened in the real world to me. Not saying it didn't. I'm just saying it didn't. It looked like something I'd see in a movie that didn't have enough budget for CGI, but still used it. Now here's the tip of it landing. This is the Bezos. There it is, just the tip. Look, still got this like. Here comes the tip of the D. The shaft has been discarded. It's flying. There's the. Parachute for the tip. Here it comes. Very epic music. Oh, it crashes into the ground in the dirt. And look at that, very colorful. That's another thing. That does not, I don't, new technologies that you don't know about can produce things that might not seem of this world to you, okay? Maybe they have those new cameras. This looks really odd. I mean, Jesus. What is going on? What? Why? What? Why? What? Why? What? I mean, this looks like something you're editing in Photoshop. It does. I wasn't even of this opinion when I started watching this. I didn't know. I didn't analyze it closely. And I just, the dramatic nature of it, everything is so dramatic now. Everything. There's nothing that is not a PR stunt. And we live in this world where the best PR stunts, the most attention-capturing PR stunts, get the most attention, get the most clicks, get the most eyeballs and ears, and therefore are able to deliver the messages that they want to deliver. And that's, you can see that getting to a place, especially on social media, where even people who might be genuine, who may have started as genuine, can't help but fall into that trap of trying to do the next publicity stunt to draw eyeballs so that they can then either deliver their message or get their clicks and get their profits. It can be hard to distinguish sometimes between grifter and somebody who is using the modern rules of attention, which is we live in a PR stunt world. This is a PR stunt presidency, and it's hit. It's really hit a fever pitch. Nancy Mace, perfect example. All she does is show her tits. Nancy Mace is like, there's never a photo of Nancy Mace that doesn't feature her tits. She's like an Instagram model who's like, look at the new book I just bought, and you can barely see the book over the curvature in the back. The book's in the background. You barely see it over the curvature of her giant breast in front of the camera. Except Nancy Mace is talking about trans issues and whatever. She's Davy Crockett of the ladies' bathroom. She's not the only one. They all do it. I wonder sometimes where this goes. Where does the PR stunt, because it's getting increasingly crazy. We had a lot of the focus on the Wisconsin Supreme Court race this year. The last time, a couple years ago, during that race, the Democrats actually put coded messaging, and they came out and they bragged about it afterwards, where they branded the other candidate as a horse effer. And they laugh about it when they talk about the branding of it. And you go back and listen to it, and you can hear the horse. I mean, you can hear it. You can hear it. It sounds like he's sleeping with a horse. And the reason is because he was a farmer who had horses. And that's like the normal thing these days. Nobody does anything grounded or normal anymore. And when you start so big, it's like, where do you go? Like, how long until everybody's desensitized? I think we're a very long way until everybody is desensitized. Because those things still get most attention. Nobody's ever like, look at this viral thing of this very reasoned argument with evidence that doesn't jump to any conclusions either way about this thing. No, you don't ever see anything blow up like that. Those often get lost to obscurity, unfortunately. This was like, what is that? It's just so ridiculous. And this one's painful for me here. So this is them doing something where they ring a bell. They go through and they do this ritual where they ring a bell before they go. I don't know if that's every astronaut. I don't want to say they're astronauts because they're not. But they're considered astronauts by the people involved in this PR stunt. And they go through and they ring this big bell before they get on. And the women ring it like they're given a hand job.
And here they come.
Here we go.
Loading into the capsule.
And the significance here of the bell, and I should note before I have you that each crew names themselves. They have named themselves the 6 taking up space as each one is ringing up.
That girl gives the worst hand. Look at that. That's very painful. It's very painful. Oh, you don't want one. You don't want a handy from her. Ugh.
And the significance of that is what, Ariane?
Katy Perry also very painful. Given Russell Brand probably a lot of painful stories.
This is one of our traditions. All astronauts.
Would she just like pray to God? Do like a? You can see her in the background because Bezos' chick is going last. You can see her prepping. She's for her moment there. Like look at her. You see her in the back in the right corner there. She's like taking a breath, and you know she knows this is her moment, so she's getting ready for her moment there. And so she very deliberately does this kind of pray to God.
And the significance of that is what?
Look at that. Look how somebody who has that much plastic surgery is very aware of when she's on camera, and her actions on camera are very, very strategic.
This is one of our traditions. All astronauts.
Is it that was like I just don't see that being genuine personally.
Throughout history in various programs.
Although she gives the best bell job.
Have had their traditions. For us, we always want.
Of course, Bezos does it the gentlest because he's a guy. Girls don't ever know how to do it.
Our astronauts to ring the and here they come.
God, it was very painful. I don't know why they did that. Okay, and here they are in space. Doing God knows what.
1, 2, 3, taking up space!
That's the name of their group, is Taking Up Space. Very, very clever. I was in a group called Astronaut University, still am, an improv group. And 14 years ago, we made shirts that said, get some space. And you know what? It wasn't innovative or groundbreaking back then, and it definitely isn't now. Okay?
Tamir's in space.
You notice they're all more concerned with the camera for the social media aspect than they are looking out the windows.
It's okay. Leave Flynn up there. Flynn, bye. Flynn, I gotcha. I gotcha, Flynn. Gotcha.
I don't know what that is. They're all looking at the camera.
Oh, the moon! You guys, I will have to tell you, look at the moon.
Hey, look at the moon. It shows the Earth.
That's amazing. Wow, look at the blue line. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Wow.
Look at the blue. So now I don't know what this is here. I don't know what this image here of whoever this is, who's facing completely opposite of the window. It's like she's saying, "Hey, space, look at my ass." What does space think of my ass?
Moon. Okay. Now it's time to look out. Oh my God.
What is that? Is that what does that say? Oh, it says Bahamas. I thought it was a Ukraine flag for a second. She's good looking. She's the best looking. I don't know with a flower or
Whoa.
I don't know who that is doing that weird.
Whoa. That's amazing.
And that's the video. That's what they did in the 8 minutes they were up there. They acted like a retard to the camera. And this is how Katy Perry felt. This is her. So Katy Perry comes out and she kisses the ground afterwards. Kiss the ground. Which Gayle King did after she did. They must not have communicated about what they were going to do coming out. Because I feel like Katy Perry got most of the credit for kissing the ground when she got out of the tip of the D. It's very racist. You should give equal credit to Gayle King.
No, you're not the crier of the group.
Feeler of the group.
No, you are not.
I'm crying.
I'm going to tell you something right now. You are officially an astronaut.
Thank you so much.
How do you feel?
How do you feel? She's an astronaut, guys. This is what an astronaut is. You pay enough money, you're an astronaut.
I feel super connected to love. So connected to love. I think this experience has shown me you never know how much love is inside of you, like how much love you have to give, and how loved you are until the day you launch.
We had these incredible shots of Daisy.
Wait. So you don't ever know how much love you have to give or how much love you can feel until the day that you launch and Jeff Bezos Blue Origin ship and go to outer space. Well, whether you believe it or not, but that's the premise there. So you can't feel true happiness and love unless you can afford to launch into outer space in this big blue D. It's a very, very good message.
Watching you as the rocket, it'll make me cry. As the rocket's going up, and she was so proud. Just kept saying,
So
"Mommy,
proud.
mommy."
Us, her daughter.
And I
yeah.
know you'll feel the same way when you watch it. And you brought a real life Daisy up.
That's
It was
right.
important for you, not only because it's your daughter's name, but why else was that important to bring it?
Daisies are common flowers, but they grow through any condition. They grow through cement, they go through cracks, they go through walls. They are resilient. They are powerful. They
And
are
it
strong,
lived
they are
the whole
everywhere.
time.
Flowers are, to me, God's smile, but it's also a reminder of our beautiful earth, and the flowers here are God's
Yes.
smile. And
She took
the
a flower to
beautiful
space.
magic that is everywhere, all around us, and even in a simple daisy. So to really appreciate it and remember it and take care of it.
I mean, it's a message that really connects with people living like on the streets of Chicago, in the Bronx, barely getting by. This really connects with the everyman, I think.
And protect it.
Gail shared with us the song that you sang when you got up there. What a wonderful world. Why was
Oh
that
my
important to
God.
sing that particular song?
I've covered that song in the past, and
Here's the kicker for her.
honestly, like my higher self is always steering the ship, because I had no clue that one day I would decide to sing a little bit of that in space. But I
course.
think that it's not about me. It's not about singing my songs. It's about a collective energy in there. It's about us. It's about making space for future women and taking
Future
up
women.
space and belonging. And
Oh, see, is taking up space. It just connects space there, space here. Take up space, women.
it's about this wonderful world that we see right out there and appreciating it.
Before I let you get back to your family, I just have to ask you, describe for us, because you're so brilliant at putting, words together, and describing moments that we can all appreciate later. How would you describe the moment when you took off and then the moment you landed?
The moment, I mean, it is the highest high, and it is
She's done a lot of
surrender
drugs,
to the unknown, trust,
Yeah.
and this whole journey is not just about going to space. It's the training, it's the team, it's the whole thing. I couldn't recommend this experience more. This is like up there with all the, different tools that I've learned in my life, from meditation to the Hoffman process, this is up there because what you're doing is you're like really finding the love for yourself, because you got to trust in yourself on this journey, and then you're feeling the love when you come down, for sure, and you're feeling that strength. So I feel really connected to that strong, divine feminine right now.
By the way, you're such a badass. I love that the month of April, you're like, I'm going to space and I'm launching my tour. I mean, it's really incredible. Now I know I'm asking this question for your fans. Will you write a song about this experience?
Oh, for sure, 100%.
So that was the kicker there. She's going to space and she's launching her tour. This is a PR stunt, is what this is for her. So whatever price she had to pay, whether she had to do the 150 down, they don't say what the actual, at least that I can find, the actual total payment is. The down payment is $150,000. And she's doing a tour, and she's going to write a song about it. Everything's a PR stunt. Every single thing is a PR stunt. Gayle King will have a bunch of news segments on. I don't know if she's still doing that show with her and Charles Barkley or not. Whatever. She'll be interviewed everywhere. She'll write a book. They'll write a book about these 8 minutes. Every single one of them will. They'll be able to put on their resume. They went up to the edge. They pegged the edge of space. And they bring on Gayle King. Let's see what Gayle said here. There she is. I mean, I'm surprised we don't see her hugging Oprah, honestly. They should have had Oprah out there.
I am so
Floating. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it.
I'm so proud of you. And I know that I speak for the collective because you have been so honest.
She doesn't speak for the collective. No, you don't speak for the collective, CNN lady.
You've been so vulnerable. And I spoke to your best friend prior to you taking
Oprah.
off, and I asked her why it was so important for you to do this. And she said, so she said, so she didn't have to hear you say, I wish I would have done that.
So true.
But now, Gayle King, you are officially an astronaut. How do you feel?
I still can't
so
accept that
stupid.
word, but I will say, I can't even believe what I saw. When somebody calls this a ride, this was not a ride. What happened to us was not a ride. This was a bona fide freaking flight.
It's a bona
And our
fide.
instructor, we were so well prepared. So every noise we heard, we knew. But the flight instructor said that I am her best success story. Why? Because she's never had somebody go through the course who's terrified of flying. Everybody who's gone through the course is somebody that it's been a lifelong dream. They wanted to do it. So she said, I'm her best success story. I'm so proud of me right now. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe it.
I was just going to say, prior to
Good job,
the launch,
Gayle.
you said that you would be so proud of yourself if you
Blue
went through
Origin.
with this. And you did. What was the best part, Gayle?
It's
Pegging
oddly
space.
quiet when you get up there. It's really quiet and peaceful. And you look down at the planet and you think, that's where we came from?
They were up there 8 minutes and they were screaming the whole time. If we accept this story, they were doing TikTok and social media videos the whole time they were there.
And to me, it's such a reminder about how we need to do better, be better.
Yeah,
Do
right.
better, be better.
Do
human
better, be
beings.
better.
It's
And what do you mean by that?
processing. Well, it's so nasty and so vitriolic nowadays. And I mean, if everybody could experience that peace that we had up there, and the kindness and what it takes to do what we did, all the people that
So, she was surprised that everybody wasn't fighting about politics when they got up there, obviously.
took to get us up there and get us back safely, I'll never, ever, ever forget.
This morning, an all-female flight crew is back on Earth after traveling to the edge of
An
space.
all-female
Blue
flight
Origin's latest
crew
tour.
traveling to the edge of space. All right, enough of that. You guys can also do that, as I said, for $150K down. I'm not sure what the payment will be after, to help Jeff Bezos continue on with the most elaborate and expensive dick joke behind closed doors that anybody has ever carried on. What's up, Joe Dirt? Didn't we get to the moon? And this is a big deal. That's a great point. That's a great point, Joe. Yeah, I wanted to see them send Gayle King and this group to the bottom of the ocean. Show me what's going on the bottom of the ocean. It's all ridiculous. It's all a PR stunt. So, all right, moving on from that story. So I find this story here to be interesting. I'm not going to cover it for too long, but it shows the ism play going on. A little bit of ism play. Always some ism play going on in our politics. Harvard University was hit with a $2.2 billion funding freeze after rejecting Trump's demands. The story says that Harvard University officials Monday rejected the Trump administration's demands that the school yield extensive government oversight that the school yield to extensive government oversight and make sweeping changes to governance, admissions, and hiring practices. They called the directives unlawful and unconstitutional, Harvard did. The administration responded last night saying it would freeze more than $2 billion in federal funding to the Ivy League school. First of all, it's not unlawful and unconstitutional to make those demands when you are doing it based on money that you're giving them. I'm going to stop giving you money if you don't do what I want. It's not Harvard's constitutional right to get paid billions in government grants. So sorry, Harvard, your constitutional rights aren't in violation, although the students that go there that you sent this letter to might believe so. They said in the letter, no government regulation of which party, regardless of which party is in power, should dictate what private universities can teach, whom they can admit and hire, and which areas of study and inquiry they can pursue, he wrote. You're right. You can do what you want. They're just saying you're not going to get the money is all the claim. All universities are propped up by government, 100%. 100%. So it's all BS to claim there's some sort of violation of free speech to say we're not going to keep giving you this money. But that's the kicker about the money thing. I'm going to tell you at the end of this little story here, though. Harrison Fields, a spokesperson for the White House, said the universities are not entitled to federal funding. It's true. He said President Trump is working to make higher education great again. So that's MHEA, MEG, by ending unchecked anti-Semitism and ensuring federal taxpayer dollars do not fund Harvard's support of dangerous racial discrimination or racially motivated violence. Harvard or any institution that wishes to violate Title VI, which is the Civil Rights Act of 1964, by law is not eligible for federal funding. So this is what's interesting about this to me, because you see this Trump seesaw happening here. Is part of the demand in this letter, I read the letter they sent to Harvard, is the discontinuation of all DEI programs, the offices, the positions, the initiatives, all of it. Get rid of the DEI programs. Yet the other side of it is pushing Harvard to do more and to do more to stop anti-Semitism, which is just another type of DEI. It's another ism is what it is. Calling everything racist when racism is vaguely defined is the same thing as calling everything anti-Semitic when anti-Semitism is vaguely defined. And they use these terms on either way to silence speech, and they never give any concrete definitions of it. That's why it's a problem. Trump used to be called anti-Semitic, especially back in 2016. I remember saying, well, here's another thing they said was a MAGA Trump person they claimed was anti-Semitism from the right, and it turns out it was a communist Bernie supporter or something that did it. And now, after saying, I'm going to get rid of all this, this DEI stuff, they're having to walk this line of, we want to get rid of all the DEI, but we also want to strengthen the anti-Semitism stuff, yet they're not given concrete definitions of any of it. You want to give concrete definitions of what you're talking about, okay, then people can balance and measure things, but that's what they don't want. They don't want that to happen. No administration ever wants that to happen, because once you can measure things concretely, then you can exclude things. Then it becomes a lot less of a weapon of censorship, of whether it's through people afraid to speak or actually identifying certain things. And yes, things that are just horrible, horrible things, and people threatening actual violence. People saying, like somebody got caught in Georgia sending a message to who was it? Who is the head of DNI? I don't know why her name slips my mind, but the Hawaiian chick. They said they were going to go after her, and they said very vulgar and specific terms that they were going to get her family, and apparently they sent them right to her somehow. I guess you can send those. I don't know why you would send direct and specific threats to a government agent like that. You have to be very stupid. Tulsi Gabbard. And all these things could always be false flags, but they could also be dumb people that do it. But the vague use of language, these glittering generalities, and these terms has been a manipulation of language that propagandists have used for a very, very long time. And you will see them arguing back and forth about certain things, but you never see that argument focused around, let's get some concrete definitions for these terms so people know when they're in violation of something and when they're not. Because if you do that, you can't apply it flexibly to anyone. It's all theater, says Joe. Pro wrestling with Mason caps thrown in the air at the end when the graduate from the... No, 100%. We live in the World Wrestling Federation, or whatever, WWE, whichever one it is recently, world right now. As I said, there's competing PR stunts. And it's just interesting to see the Trump administration walk this line, because he ran so hardcore on eliminating the DEI. But now here he is saying, all right, now we got to get the anti-Semitic, when it's all speech control. It's just a different kind of speech control. But it's actually not even a different kind. It's just, and even questioning it, there's a group online who will call you anti-Semitic for saying, hey, this seems a lot similar to the DEI stuff, everything's racism stuff. Even saying that will get you called anti-Semitic by some people. And maybe that backlash is like part of some sort of psyop. You know, not to go too deep into the weeds here, but you can intentionally cause a backlash to create to manifest something, to then say, haha, we told you there was this group of people that were rising. If that makes any sense. All right, what else do they say here? Oh, so they buried the lead on this story. Because at first when I read this, I was like, $2.2 billion in grants to Harvard University. That's a lot of money, even if it's multi-year. That's still a lot of money. I mean, for the Dodgers, Ohtani, he's not even getting $1 billion over 10 years. Okay, let alone $2 billion. And here's Harvard with this multi-year deal to get $2 billion, $2.2 billion from the government. As it turns out, $2.2 billion. You know, while it's a lot for most people, not so much for Harvard. It's just 25% of what the government, that we know of anyway, has promised Harvard. Could be more. But this article here, buried very low in it, where people don't often get to when they read it. I've told you they strategically put information they don't want people to read lower in the article. They've done these tests on where people's eyes go and how they scan through articles. And in total, what it says here is that the federal government is reviewing nearly $9 billion in federal funding connected to Harvard. So they're reviewing $9 billion connected to them. They're freezing 2.2. And yet Harvard is crying, we only have $6.8 billion to work with right now. That is unconstitutional. It's a violation of our free speech to only have $6.8 billion in government funds to work with. Okay? Moving on. Cinco de Mayo. A lot of people celebrate Cinco de Mayo. I stopped celebrating it, I think, probably in my early 30s. Cinco de Mayo parades to be canceled in Chicago due to fears over immigration enforcement, according to a local organizer. What are they going to do? Are they going to round up all the white people drinking margaritas? Deport them? Or are they going to go straight for the staff? I've literally celebrated Cinco de Mayo in Chicago before. I used to live there. Everyone celebrating it looked like me. Very, very white, very, very American. You don't see a bunch of Hispanics celebrating Cinco de Mayo up and down the streets. It's not even, from what I understand, and I know a handful of Mexican people, which means I know everything about Mexico, obviously. It's not even a nationwide holiday. It's mainly celebrated in the state of Pueblo, the site of the historic battle. It's a marketing thing. It's a moneymaker over here for drunk idiots in the U.S. And people, we better shut down the parade. It's probably white people in brown face in the parade for all we know. And not to mention that Trump, up until mid-March, was still deporting 200 less a month on average. This is the beginning of the year, but still, on average, than Biden did in 2024, all year. 200 less a month. Now, if that changed in the past couple of weeks, that data is not out yet, but the deportation numbers are down. Now, the people crossing over the border are also way down, which is probably in large part due to the measures put at the border, but also the rhetoric, also the fear. I would say probably the campaign rhetoric, because I don't know that the latest PR rhetoric is really scaring anybody. The latest PR rhetoric, which is led by Christy Real Doll Gnome, LARPing as an ICE agent. She looks like a sex doll. Whoever does her wardrobe says, what can we do to make her look more like a sex doll? We want these immigrants to think that they're going to be able to bang it. She looks like a toy. And she does these stupid commercials, and they become even stupider, even less serious, when they feature, along with the sex doll gnome, Libs of TikTok Girl. Let's bring Libs of TikTok Girl in to the ICE agent LARP. Here, like this. How less serious can you get with your ICE agent LARPing than bringing Epstein Binder Girl? Like here, arrested some criminal illegal aliens with Secretary Gnome this morning, ! Exclusive footage coming soon. Phoenix, Arizona just became a lot safer. You think this bitch arrested some illegals with Kristi Noem? I mean, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. If it wasn't annoying enough to see her wave around an Epstein binder that nothing was in and nobody actually thought anything was in, here she is LARPing with a sex doll, pretending to be an ICE agent without the sex appeal. At least make her bangable as an ICE agent. Doll her up like Gnome if you're going to put this bitch out there. Everything's a PR stunt. She's got this fake badge on. Show me a video of her tackling some immigrant running away and really, really pinning him down and handcuffing him. Let me see that instead of the fake badge inside of the van. Give me a break. I mean, this is the type of stuff that's going to lose people here. God. All right, enough of that. A couple more quick stories I'm going to get out. She needs an OnlyFans account. Kristi Noem, absolutely. Now, Kristi Noem could do like she's fighting some illegal, some MS-13, and she's got to bang them, just like the only way to stop the MS-13 is she's just got to exhaust them by just banging every single one of them until they're drained. And then you bring in Libs of TikTok, who just picks them up, handcuffs them, and throws them in. She's wearing bondage. That would be a pretty good TikTok, or not TikTok, but OnlyFans, Joe Dirt. Might be onto something there. Okay, so there's a startup. This is a pretty interesting story here. Planning the world's first sperm race. You heard that right. The world's first sperm race. in Los Angeles. It's going to take place before a live audience, this sperm race, the world's first. It's going to be a live audience of more than 1,000 people, and it's going to be next week. I hope to God that they did not pay to be there. But people will pay to see anything, like the Kristi Noem Libs of TikTok OnlyFans, where they LARP as ICE agents, grinding up against a border pole. Yeah, that's how they entice them, Joe Dirt. So, the article says here, even though thousands of spectators are expected for the matchup, they won't be able to actually see the participants without a microscope because it's a sperm race, and this first sperm race, it's exactly what it sounds like, it says. Wait a minute. Yeah, they won't. So, I mean, they can't bring their own microscope, obviously. So they're just going to be sitting there wondering who's winning. I can't see the jizz. I can't see whose jizz is faster. It says it's just what it sounds like. And over on the website, which is called Sperm Racer, you got to be very careful what you type in here. Sperm, make sure. I don't want to send you guys to any weird porn sites. So, spermracer.com. Okay, so spermracer.com. That is a real. I don't know what the sperm's pronouns are, Joe. You might not. That might be if they. You might have to announce that either before or after to qualify. I'm not sure of all the rules yet. But over on the website, spermracer.com. The name of the startup, which is Sperm Racer, it explains that it's built a special microscopic racetrack to face off the two sperm samples. So it's built how did they build a microscopic racetrack? They have little tiny robots or little fingers. I want to see this. I want to see transparency on how they built this microscopic racetrack personally. Because if you can't see the sperm, how are you making the racetrack and able to put it all underneath this microscope? I should continue. Maybe they'll explain. What makes the racetrack unique is that it mimics the reproductive system, copying chemical symbols, fluid dynamics. Fluid dynamics? This is a wet racetrack? I guess so. And synchronized starts. Okay. At least it's fair. At least it's synchronized. Importantly, though, while spectators won't be able to see the actual sperm, you know, there's one guy who paid for this, and he's with his girl, and he's like, wait a minute, you're telling me I can't see the sperm? Give me my money back, bro. Just yanking his girl. I promised her she was going to see a sperm fight. Even though the spectators won't be able to see the actual sperm, the spermracing.com says it'll be tracking each sperm's movement with high-resolution cameras to track their microscopic moves. This seems to be the real story here. Jizz-obsessed startup creates high-resolution camera capable of tracking a sperm race. That seems to be the bigger story. How tiny is this camera? Obviously, it's waterproof. Has it been confiscated by the NSA yet? The winner of the race, it says, will be the first to cross the finish line. And the Eric Zhu, not Jew, Zhu, one of the startup's founders, writes in his manifesto, we're turning it into a spectacle. Think press conferences, weigh-ins, weigh-ins? Weigh-ins. Are the sperm weighing in or the sperm donors weighing in? Maybe both. Think you could do a lot there. Live streamed races with play-by-play commentary. And, of course, betting. You can bet on which sperm you think is going to be the fastest? I have to say, though, if they're going to be looking for somebody to do the commentary, the play-by-play, I would love to throw my name out there. I would actually audition for that. I would totally audition for that. And we're off. Look at them go, folks. A tidal wave of seamen shooting out of the starting gate, each one vying to cross the finish line and become the 2025 world champion of fertilization. It's going to be a hell of a swim, folks. And our tiny sperm tracking cameras are going to be on the backs, giving you a live POV view the entire way. It's going to be thrilling. I will do an entire audition tape for them, all the way from ejaculation to the fallopian tubes, if they're doing a call for play-by-play commentators. I would love to have that job. The startup recently raised $1 million. Wow, that's pretty good. That's something that these rich people be like, oh, a sperm race, here's $1 million. Now, the startup is just not about the ridiculousness of this. It's a matter of health, they say. They say while the sperm racing does place a lot of emphasis on the race itself, the project is about something bigger, male fertility, because male fertility has gone down over the years, and so they want to call attention to that. And their bottom line is that one of the best ways to get people to care about something is to turn it into a competition. I'm not sure how they start the competition. I don't know if it's a couple of dudes wanking it onto a petri dish, but I guess I'll have to wait for that first race before I find out. Here's a look at their website. It's not a bad cause at all. It's kind of funny. I'm interested in those tiny cameras, though. Here you go. Here's their website. The National Institute for Spermatozoa Exploration. What do? I work for the National Institute for Spermatozoa Exploration. So, sperm racing, it says. When people hear about it, they ask me the same thing every time. Wait, is this actually happening? That's not what I would ask. I would ask, how do they begin? Because I feel like that's part of it. The sample collection is part of it. Because if they get the samples, not to go too detailed, and then they isolate the samples separately, then they've kind of lost that out of the starting gate thing. You need them out of the starting gate. So I'm going to recommend some fleshlights maybe and some petri dish. Maybe build like a fleshlight petri dish. Okay, gone too far. We've gone too far this morning. Look how it's much bigger highlighted here. Yeah, they're talking about male fertility stuff. And they're right. Male fertility has gone down because of just a whole bunch of different factors. I don't know what this means, but check out the website if you want. And, maybe I'll get an audition to be the play-by-play guy. We'll see. Another NGO funded by USAID, maybe. That would be funny. They're like, we found $1 million USAID funding sperm racing. How kind of Elon Musk would want to get in there on that? He would want to prove himself because he's got so many children, they say. All right. Here's a little quick thing here. So you might have seen the story. So the way this was advertised about J.D. Vance, embarrassing moment when he breaks the college football trophy. They went to go, Ohio State went to the White House today, and so you can see J.D. Vance here. Look, say what you will about J.D. Vance. Try to call it as I see it. This is a misrepresentation. You can see him on the screen being helped with a trophy. Let me bring it back there. All right, so he tries to pick the trophy up, right? And you see the one guy holding it. The one guy's got, because he knows how it works. And it's two pieces. The trophy is very obviously two pieces, and they didn't tell Vance that, or maybe Vance didn't listen. And he manipulated it, and he dropped the holder. So it's a trophy, and it's a little holder. He didn't break the trophy. I know it's stupid. And there were jokes about it, and he looked like an idiot. But he didn't break the trophy. That's why this guy was here. The trophy never left this guy's hands. I don't even care about that story, but it's just, you see these headlines that misrepresent it, then you see all the late night jokes on it, and it's like all you got to do is watch 2 seconds of video and see what actually happened. And then now Trump's over there. Trump's like, I got some jokes. I'm going to make some jokes. Trump's holding a helmet over there like a retard. I don't know what that helmet is. Here you go. Let's see what he said about it. Why is this music here? Who chooses this music?
Today, I'm honored to call the Ohio State University Buckeyes national champions. You're the national champions, and you're standing right here at the White House. And it's a proud day for all of us, but it's a proud day for the Scarlet and Gray.
To be here surrounded by our players, you see the hard ones, difficult steer on the road back, and execute.
So nobody said anything. Nobody said anything about it. I thought there was a joke made about it. And finally, I'm going to save that other story for tomorrow. Finally, we have, I'm not going to play the audio here because it's girls just want to have fun underneath, but this is the University of North Carolina. It's video from one of their football practices, their spring practices. And the girl you see in the middle of the screen here, that is Bill Belichick's 24-year-old girlfriend. Bill Belichick is I think he's like 72, former coach of the New England Patriots, now coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. First spring practice, and she's standing in the middle of the field. I guess I can play a little bit of it just to show you how obnoxious it is. Okay, so she's wearing a North Carolina, I can't play that, a North Carolina themed like long jacket, right? She's got hooker boots on. It's the middle of the day, and this is these are 18 to like 24-year-olds. And she's dressed like she's on the main stage at the Cheetah in downtown Atlanta, which has very high class, very pretty strippers. That's all I've heard. And she's got the long white boots on, all North Carolina themed, and she's strutting up in her long jacket up to her boyfriend, 72-year-old coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels, Bill Belichick. And she hands him something. I don't know what she handed him, but she's on the field. And she walks back over, and she's standing in the middle of the field, seemingly coordinating with other coaches. Walks up to him there. There's players all around. Can you imagine any coach's wife ever being a central part of practice for her husband's team? She's Bill's Viagra prescription. I think you're right about that. Bill's going to enter the sperm race as long as she can be there. As long as she is that line to cross, then Bill just might win that sperm race. But I have to say, North Carolina's success in this upcoming year seems to depend wholly on the health of this seemingly very unhealthy, maybe it's not unhealthy, but potential for unhealthy relationship. If this goes wrong, if this relationship crumbles, she's got an entire, she can corrupt the entire team, man. She's already flashing leg as an attractive 24-year-old to a bunch of 18 to 24-year-olds. Don't let her go into the locker room, Bill. She might find something she likes in there. I am very interested. Maybe this is another PR thing. I'm a Georgia Tech fan. Tech has been beating UNC the past few years. And I have to say, if Georgia Tech beats Bill Belichick's UNC, she should break up with him, because nobody should really. Georgia Tech's football team's gotten better, but you shouldn't lose to Georgia Tech, a bunch of nerds, as much as I support them. Don't let her into the locker room, Bill. I'm interested to see how this plays out. That's all I want to talk about today. Thanks for hanging out in the chats. I will restream this again later this afternoon. And that's going to be the end of the show today. We'll be back later tonight between 8:30 and 9, probably with Ian if he's available. And we'll do it again tonight. I already have some stuff I want to talk about for later tonight. So I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your morning. Propagandafight.com is the website, and you can find all the ways to help support the show at Freedom Act Radio on X. In the bio, all the links are there. Share the show if you like it, and leave a 5-star review on your podcast listing app of your choice. That helps us show up higher in the search engine rankings. We will talk to you guys later today. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your afternoon. All of the universe. Wait, yeah, I already probably put that one up. She's Bill's. That's a great comment to end on there. I know I said it earlier, but it's a perfect one. She's Bill's Viagra prescription. Thank you, Joe. See you guys later on today.